Op-ed, accusing Final Fantasy Tactics the Ivalice Chronicles of being a blatant cash grab is not only intellectually dishonest, it is outright disrespectful to the work of the dev team that has put it together. If I was still in journalism, that's how I would title an article based on this subject, but seeing as how this is a video, it's just the topic of said video. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and let's let the salt flow, shall we? Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including discussions that are absolutely going to start a firestorm in the comments, but which I'm just too goddamn sick of the topic to ignore, then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. No news or guides or anything today, just an out-and-out discussion because, good lord, some of y'all in the comments of my videos and other people's videos need to learn what a cash grab actually is and stop slinging around terminology that you're only using because you are big butthurt about a product that we're lucky even exists. We're getting into it today, but you know what? I've been wading through the trenches for weeks because of y'all. It's time for y'all to deal with me. So, what is a cash grab? What makes a difference between a legitimate revival of a game and a cash grab? The answer is threefold: time, effort, and additional content. To illustrate this, we have two different examples. First, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and then second, our comparison, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. The difference between these two games is pretty obvious. Final Fantasy Tactics was first released in the 90s. And yes, the War of the Lions also exists, but that was released in 2007. The most recent version of this game that had any major additions made to it, other than just adapting it for the mobile market, is almost 2 decades old, and the original is almost 3 decades old. So time is obviously a significant factor here. Let's compare that to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Well, when did The Last of Us Part 2 come out? 2020. When did The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered come out? 2025. It moved from the PS4 to the PS5, and they are calling it a remaster. So time is obviously on the Ivalice Chronicles side here. As far as effort is concerned, there's obviously a lot of differences between The Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy Tactics. The Last of Us Part 2 is a much larger game in general, and I'm sure took a lot more effort to put together than Final Fantasy Tactics ever has. However, that's at the baseline. As far as remastering these two products, I think we can definitely throw things in Tactics' corner, although of course to have concrete evidence of that, we'd have to have access to the direct game files and everything of both games, and we're not going to have that. But what did The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered do? It upscaled graphics from the PS4 to the PS5, so much so that people kind of can't even tell the difference between the PS4 and the PS5 versions, as was widely discussed once The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered was first revealed. You can get a 4K mode, which should probably just be an update. You get improved loading times, something that probably just happens automatically by going to the PS5 from the PS4. I guess you can improve it a little bit. Full DualSense wireless controller integration. Thumbs up. You get lost levels and a developer insight, basically documentary features that could very easily be added to a basic DLC. You can free play the guitar to unlock different instruments and have a speedrun mode. Probably also just a free update or DLC. Descriptive audio and speech-to-vibrations accessibility features. Definitely not something to specify as part of a remastering. Should just be an update to the game. And unlockable character and weapon skins for players to use for the main characters, which, while cool, pretty minor. The biggest thing that it seems that Part 2 Remastered added was the no-return roguelike survival mode, which does, admittedly, sound pretty cool, and also probably could have just been its own $10 to $20 DLC that didn't need an entire remaster packaged around it to try and sell it. Everything else about the game, completely identical from everything that I've been able to see in researching this video. Let's compare that to Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. Well, first of all, there's the obvious one. The entire game had to be rebuilt from the ground up because the original source files for the previous versions of the game no longer existed. That's a lot of effort, and something that actually requires a lot of time and money and very careful consideration of how to emulate and match the original experience, which means effort. Full voice acting for the first time in the game's history. Do you understand how many man-hours go into recording all of that dialogue, having casting directors and product managers to ensure that all of the lines are delivered correctly, all of those lines to be recorded in 2 different languages, edited, filtered, placed into the game files properly? That is a massive project in and of itself. But how about the fact that the entire script needed to be rewritten to not only have a much better localization compared to the base version of the game, but also to suit spoken dialogue? Do you know how much text is in Final Fantasy Tactics? Well, based on my general research, give or take around 200 pages. Rewriting that is effort. How about updating all of the graphics to suit HD displays? How about redoing the entire UI to suit HD displays? How about the rebalancing that we know has been done and the even more rebalancing that has been hinted at to fix a lot of the issues with the base game's balance? How about the creation of new animated cutscenes? How about the addition of untold number of quality of life features, most of which we don't even know about yet? That, my lovely naysayers, is effort. Not only is it effort, it is also additional content, major additional content, that the game has been sorely lacking for its overly neglected lifespan. Now, of course, I can already hear the keyboards tip-tapping away, but the War of the Lions content isn't in the game, so it's a lazy cash grab. No, that's not what a cash grab is. You need to find new terminology. As I've stated many times, it's fine if you don't like that the War of the Lions content isn't in the game. That is understandable. Whether it be due to budgetary reasons, time reasons, poor code reasons, or just personal grudge reasons, there is a reason that that content was not added to the game per the wills or wiles of Square Enix or the dev team, including Matsuno and company. Not including it does not make everything else that has been done in the entire project a cash grab. If you want to critique the game, do it properly. Use proper terminology. Explain your argument. Do not besmirch the efforts and names of the people who have obviously put a lot of time and passion into developing this game, or any other project like it, for that matter. I expect better of people in my comments, and I expect better of people on the internet. And yes, I understand that that is a fool's errand, but the day you give up on the fight is the day that you lose. And I don't give up very easily. So remember, rebuilding a 30-year-old game from the ground up, including remaking almost everything associated with it to bring it to a new audience, to introduce it to a whole new world of gaming that was nowhere even near as big then as it is now, not a cash grab. If they just ported War of the Lions to Steam and Sony PlayStation Network and charged you $40 for it, that would be a cash grab. It would still be a necessary port, but it'd be a cash grab. This, not that. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure that we're going to have nothing but very calm and considerate conversation in the comments, and that is exactly what I expect. But until the next video, my name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.